The most important work you do this year will probably never be seen by anyone. No one claps for a man doing reps. No one films the 1,000th quiet prayer. No one hands out awards for showing up again. But that unseen work is where God builds strength. And a man who will not work unseen will not stand long in the open. Last week we closed the foundation. 5 stones. Guard your life, obey all the way, move while you are still afraid, be the same man behind the closed door, build, then stand. And I told you the building happens in the calm, long before the storm, in the small moments over and over when no one is watching. That was not a closing line, that was the door into this whole next phase. Because the foundation is what you settle. Formation is what you repeat. And for the next 5 weeks, we are talking about what gets formed in a man when nobody is looking. My name is Zach Powell, and the way I understand what God has called me to is simple. We are called to be soldiers, disciples, and fishers of men for Christ. Soldiers because this life is not casual. There is a real enemy, and no man sits it out. Disciples, because none of us is above the word. We are under it, still being formed. And fishers of men, because as disciples, he calls us to pull others out of the dark and into his light. This is the 6th teaching in a season, built on a book I wrote called Lessons of the Father. And this week we open formation. Strength is built quietly. Here's where formation starts. It starts with who the work is for. Listen to Paul, Colossians chapter 3, verse 23 and 24. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Whatever you do, not whatever gets noticed, not whatever gets measured, not whatever somebody thanks you for. Whatever you do. Paul takes every piece of a man's ordinary work, the job, the house, the drive home, the discipline nobody assigned you, and he puts one person in front of all of it. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. And that changes everything about motivation. Because most men work for a response, the recognition, the result, the thank you. And when the response is the fuel, the work dies when the response does. But when the work is done for the Lord, the fuel does not run out. He sees every rep, and he is worth every one of them. Now watch what that kind of work builds. Quiet discipline develops endurance. Endurance builds steadiness. Steadiness makes a man reliable. And reliability is what your family is actually living on. Not your best moments, your repeated ones. Your children are watching your habits long before they can understand them. They are learning what normal is from what you repeat. If prayer is occasional, it becomes optional. If discipline is sporadic, it becomes negotiable. If integrity moves with your mood, it becomes uncertain. What you repeat is what you teach, and what you repeat is what you become. Strength does not require recognition, it requires repetition. Character is not built in moments, it is built in the same choice, made again on an ordinary Tuesday for the 400th time. Now, Paul knows exactly what that costs, because he wrote this too. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Do not miss what Paul is admitting there. He is admitting that doing good makes you weary. Weariness is not weakness. Weariness is the natural response of a man who has been carrying something faithfully. The danger is not feeling tired. The danger is giving up. And look at the promise, a harvest at the proper time. You do not plant on Monday and harvest on Tuesday. There is a long stretch in the middle where the field looks like nothing is happening. That stretch is where most men quit. And here is the mercy in this teaching. Consistency does not require perfection. It requires return. Return to prayer when you got distracted. Return to the discipline when you eased off. Return to obedience when you failed. That is not starting over. That is continuing. I have had seasons where the daily work felt like pouring water into sand, praying and seeing nothing move, showing up and feeling no different. And God was building something in me anyway. He usually is. That is the whole teaching. The audience is one. The method is repetition. The harvest comes at the proper time. So here's the charge this week. One move held for 7 days. Pick one small act of obedience, small enough that you cannot excuse your way out of it. 10 minutes in the Word before the phone. A prayer over your children at the same hour every day. One act of order in your house, daily. Same act, same time, 7 days. Tell no one. And when you miss a day, and you might, do not quit and do not start over. Return. The next day, you're back. Because the harvest is not promised to the man who never got tired. It is promised to the man who did not give up. If you are building in the quiet, subscribe and walk the season with me. Formation runs 5 weeks, and each one stands on the last. And if you know a man doing faithful work nobody sees, send him this one. It will land. Next week, the quiet work goes public. Because here's the thing about what you rehearse in private. It comes out of your mouth. The words you say under pressure are not accidents. They are leaks. They tell the truth about what your heart has been practicing all week. Next week, govern the tongue. Govern the temper. Until then, same act, same time, 7 days. Stand firm in the faith, and I will see you next week.